Greetings, fellow action figure connoisseurs, and welcome to another episode of Digital Caveman Presents Transformers Friday. I, as always, am your host, the Digital Caveman, and today I will be presenting you with the 2010 Transformers Generations Deluxe Class Wheeljack. Let's get into it! Let's take a look at the figure and accessories in alt mode. And first up, we have the handy dandy instruction manual, and you can see they kind of made this out of glossy paper, not the less expensive paper they're using now, but nice, very clear illustrations of how to transform it, and also how to transform it back. So this was back in the day when you got transformed to robot mode, then transform it back into alt mode. So that was cool. I kind of missed that a little bit, even though you can just reverse whatever it is you do. So let's take a look at the vehicle mode. And I have to say, for the most part, this is a very nice looking alt mode for Wheeljack. Not quite the race car with all the logos and stuff on it that we might be used to from Generation 1, but nonetheless a very close approximation of that car without all the logos on it. We've got some nice paint apps here on the hood and on the top, as well as Autobot Tampo, and then some paint apps on the back and then down the sides as well. The bottom cleans up pretty nicely. You don't see a whole lot of robot parts except for feet spurs and some legs and hips, maybe some knees, and we've got his two weapons right here, some kind of exhaust pipes in this mode. So there is that. So, and like I said, overall it's a very nice looking vehicle mode that does lean heavily into Wheeljack's G1 appearance, and it rolls pretty darn freely, I might add. There you have it, my friends. There's a look at the figure and his accessories in alt mode. It's time for alt mode comparisons, and here we have the 2010 Transformers Generations Deluxe Class Wheeljack with the Transformers War for Cybertron Trilogy Earthrise Deluxe Class Wheeljack and the Transformers Legacy United Origin Wheeljack. For our last set of alt mode comparisons, here we have the 2010 Transformers Generations Deluxe Class Wheeljack with the Transformers Titans Returns Legends Class Bumblebee and the Amazon exclusive Transformers Generation Selects War for Cybertron Trilogy Earthrise Leader Class Alternate Universe Optimus Prime. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the comedy portion of our program where I attempt to transform this Transformer. And I've maybe done it several times over the years, and one time just recently, so let's see if anything stuck, because these are, you know, I want to say, let's see, what did the directions say what level this was? Level 3 intermediate. You know, we don't get that anymore. So let's start by removing these two pieces, and they just clip right on this piece right here. This is where they clip with this little clippy piece, and you just pull it off. So then I think maybe we unclip the doors, but I could be wrong. Yeah, there we go, unclipped, and you can see there's all kinds of tabby stuff going on here, and in the front too. So I guess we'll just tilt the front like so, and that loosens it right up. And you can see there's a tab here and a pretty thin tab there, and they just kind of slide in here. So flip that out, and you can see all the little tabs right in there, and all the little ports right there for it, or slots, whatever you want to call it. And then you can separate them, and you can see tabs here and slots and stuff here. And then don't do that, but if you do happen to do that, that piece is on a ball joint and it just pops right back into place. You can flip these forward. These, although they look like feet, they are the heel spurs. These parts are the front of his feet. So let's untab this part, and we'll move it back and undo. You can see his arms in there, and there's some tabs right here, and they tab into his arms right here when you're putting him back into vehicle mode. So now we can undo that, and these will only turn up so far at this hinge, and that's on both sides, and this piece flips right on out. But another thing you have to do with these wings, you can see it's on a slide right here, so you want to slide them out, and then eventually they'll tilt up at this portion as well. Let's see if we can get the arms straightened up. Let's move the wheels are on a hinge, so you just move those up kind of out of the way, and then flip them forward. And you just kind of do that on both sides. Then once you have that done, up here at the upper bicep, twist the arm just a little bit. Then down here at the wrist, straighten the hands up, and then just do that again over here on the other side. Now let's see, you can see sliders right here, and this whole window piece slides up, and it slides some other stuff up too, like Wheeljack's head. And it doesn't always like to move real smoothly, and it doesn't always like to go all the way into position, but you just work at it a little bit until you get it in there. And then you can adjust these wings, and I may be doing this too early, I don't recall. Now once you get this opened up, there's another weapon in here that you just, it ports in right there by the handle, and you can transform this. Look at that, awesome. have this piece right here that moves out on this hinge. And then there's two tabs right here, and they tab in right here. And then there's one at the bottom as well, right here, that tabs in right here. And tab that bottom one in first. And then just kind of hinge those right up into position. And just kind of adjust stuff. And I will tell you, this one is, even with the heel spurs that he has, it's a little bit back heavy. And then, like, if you want him to hold these pieces, he can hold them, and they're like tools. But you see these bars right there, I guess. These clip on there, but they're kind of loose, so they don't really stay in that upward kind of how we like Wheeljack to have his shoulder mounted stuff. You know, it doesn't always like to stay up that high. Now this piece can also clip in there if you want to pull one of those out, or also, oops, I say he can hold it in his hand. He can. Just doesn't want to. Of course he doesn't want to. Come on, dude. Well, let's see if you hold it in the other one. There it goes. He holds it in that one better. So, there you have it, my friends. Wheeljack, all transformed with only a little bit of difficulty. Let's take a look at the figure and his accessories in robot mode. And as far as accessories go, I think I really kind of already covered it. But I will have to say, overall, this does have a very nice G1 aesthetic to it. It's not 100%, but it's really, really close, in my opinion. Your mileage, of course, may vary, as always. And again, you know, it's pretty much the same paint apps that we talked about before. For the head, he does have a light pip, and I don't know what happened to my pin light, or I could show it, but it lights up his eyes and the wings on the sides of his head as well, so that's pretty cool. And of course he has these weapons up here, and they are adjustable, but they're staying put where they are, so I'm really not wanting to mess with them too much. But you know, again, as far as the deco goes, it's pretty much everything that we've already covered. The back is not too bad. It's a little messy back here, you know, on the backs of the legs, but I've seen worse in newer Transformers. And I did forget to say, you know, this window here is all blacked out, whereas we get translucent plastic for the front. So there is that. Now let's take a look at his articulation. He looks up that far, he looks down that far. He doesn't really chicken neck. He does have some waggle, and he can do the full Exorcist. So at the shoulder, it's kind of got some up and down on this transformation hinge, but it also has a ball joint right here, and he can put his arm out just slightly less than 90 degrees, it looks like. It will rotate all the way around if the wings and tires and stuff weren't in the way, but with that stuff all out, you can get about that much up and about that much back around. He does have a double hinged elbow, and that's mainly for transformation, but the tire really kind of gets in the way here. If I even have it correct. Do I have it correct? I don't. tire goes over to the side. So I mistransformed him. Go figure. So still with that double-handed elbow gives you about that much bend. And then he has some bicep swivel, and he has rotation at the wrist. He does have rotation at the waist, and it will go around 360 degrees, so that's really good. And then at the hips, he gives you about that much of the splits, more on one side than the other. I don't know. Maybe it's just the way I got him situated. And then he can kick forward about that far, so that's not bad. And he can kick back like a mule, my friends. He has a single hinged knee, and it gives you that much bend. And then at the ankle, it will tilt down that far due to transformation. It tilts level, and then it does have rocker, so go figure. Well, the front has rocker, the back not so much. Well, it has rocker too. So, but they do rock independently of each other. Well, there you have it, my friends. There's a look at Wheeljack in his robot mode, properly transformed. It's time for my favorite part of a Transformers review, robot mode comparisons. And here we have the 2010 Transformers Generations Deluxe Class Wheeljack next to the Transformers War for Cybertron trilogy Earthrise Deluxe Class Wheeljack, and in the back the Transformers Legacy United Origin Wheeljack. For our last set of robot mode comparisons, here we have the 2010 Transformers Generations Deluxe Class Wheeljack with the Transformers Titans Returns Legends Class Bumblebee and the Walmart exclusive Netflix Transformers War for Cybertron trilogy Earthrise Leader Class Optimus Prime. For final thoughts on the 2010 Transformers Generations Deluxe Class Wheeljack, I have to say, for the age of this figure, it's pretty good. I think it's a really nice looking version of Wheeljack. The alt mode is very G1-ish. Not exactly, but you know, it's right up there. I like that his shoulder guns can also be used as tools if you'd rather. And you know, just the colors and the general look of this is pretty good. And they're like the backpack there and the legs might be a little bit clunky, but overall I think it works. The transformation, while challenging, isn't overly complicated. I wouldn't say you could sit down with this and figure it out in 10 minutes. It might take you a little less than that, but you know, it's possible to sit down and figure it out without looking at the instructions and get it pretty close. You might not get it 100%, but you can get it pretty close. And I wish I had my pen light to show you the light pip and the eye and the head wings, or whatever you want to call them, because I always I think that's a really cool feature when they do that, with Transformers. We don't get to see it very often anymore. But there was a point where they did do it a lot. Or at least a lot more than they do now. But again, for the age of this guy, I think he's really good, and he would probably still be in my display as my Wheeljack had the Earthrise version not come along and scaled a little better with the rest of the War for Cybertron and later things. Well, that does it for the review. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it. Only support from viewers like you make this programming possible. Each view does count, and I do appreciate each and every single view I receive. Thank you, and thank you so very, very much for supporting this channel through viewing. If you are interested in supporting my channel further, I am now offering memberships at various tiers. Click the join button on my YouTube page, or check this video's description for the link and see if any membership offers are right for you, but only if you are in a position to do so. Comment below, like, share, subscribe if you would like to see more content or just help the channel grow, or both. That's even better. And don't forget to ding that bell so that in the future you will be notified as my new content becomes available. That's a wrap, folks. I'll see you next time.